The Moses of Her People, a biographical video on the life of Harriet Tubman, one of the greatest abolitionists in American history. Born in 1820 on a Maryland plantation, Harriet Tubman was born Raminta or Minty Tubman. She was the child of Benjamin Tubman and Harriet Brown. She was alongside 10 other siblings. Her parents were of Ashanti descent, a warrior people from Africa. Harriet's early life on the plantation consisted first of nannying her master's children. As she grew older, she was given more difficult tasks, like trapping for a man named Mr. Cook. She was also rented to various plantation masters for her skills with medicine, weaving, and sewing. Eventually, when she was 16, she was used as a showman. Because she was so strong, her master sold tickets so men could watch her pull carts. Harriet found this degrading and was greatly angered by it. She fought back, but was beaten harshly. At one point in time, she was beaten so harshly for lashing out at a master after he tried to kill a fellow slave that he hit her over the head with a shovel, leaving her in a coma for almost a year. When Harriet was 16, she told her mother of a dream where she was Moses leading her people to a promised land. This dream is what eventually led her to run away from slavery. Her first attempt at running away was stopped when her brother decided to go back. She followed. Soon after, Harriet decided that she would run away, this time alone. The night of her runaway, she stood outside her parents' cabin and sang a song of being a free bird. Her first stop along the Underground Railroad, she met up with a Mormon woman she had known since a child. The woman fed her, clothed her, and led her back on her way. Eventually, she found herself free in Philadelphia. For a while as she stayed in Philadelphia, she met up with many runaway slaves and many abolitionists working on the Underground Railroad. She heard their stories of rescuing slaves and becoming free. She met up with a man named Henry Box Brown, who shipped himself all the way to freedom. After hearing their stories, she decided she would go back for her family. Her first trip, she rescued a big majority of her family. And over 19 trips, she managed to rescue over 300 slaves. Not once did Harriet ever lose a runaway. Her methods of keeping them intact were unorthodox, to say the least, but very effective. Eventually, Harriet attempted to go back for her husband, but she found that when she met up with him, he had fallen in love with another woman. She returned to Philadelphia. Harriet moved around a lot as an abolitionist. She moved eventually to Canada, but returned to the States once the Civil War began. Harriet worked alongside many black men as a nurse and a spy in the Civil War. Working as a nurse, she healed many. Working as a spy, she acquired tons of useful information. And working as a scout, she led many successful trips into enemy territory. Her most strategic move was leading the Union Army into Combahee River Valley in 1863. Here she had a hugely successful attack on the South. Fortunately, Harriet was not credited or paid for her work in the Union Army, but she was a huge help. After her work in the war, Harriet settled in the southern part of Canada, very near the United States. Harriet's life was well spent. She was influential and incredibly helpful in the African American society. She died in 1913 at the age of 93. But even beyond the grave, her influence can still be seen today in many African American people who have spoken for their rights and for their meaning. People like Barack Obama, Martin Luther King Jr., and Rosa Parks are just a few examples of how her influence can be seen today